Well, good day, everybody. 6 minutes late. Sorry about that. We've got 3 sessions on YouTube, but it wasn't coming up on Facebook, and I had a big flash across the top of my screen saying there's an unknown error. So we shut it down, started again. That was the second time on YouTube. It still wasn't on Facebook, and then we shut it down and shut the computer down this time and reset everything very quickly with my techo expert over there, Jane. And now it's working, so we're a little bit late, but that's all fine. What can I tell you about today? Explorer's moving, that's cool. But anyway, Spirit of Helsinki caught a huge marlin apparently, and I'm not sure because there's huge and there's huge, compared to their mahi they're catching, and they're catching really small ones. Interesting story because we've spent a lot of time in the Pacific fishing. A mahi about this big is only a baby. It's very young. It only takes them a few months literally to grow that big. They're hugely fast growing, pelagic fish in the Pacific. So anyway, now they've got a huge marlin, and a huge marlin could be, like a ton. I don't know. Anyway, and they've also broken their Genoa halyard and also a J3 halyard. So that's not so good. And I got to thank Warren. Warren, you've volunteered to take Kathleen's hat, so that's all in your package from the shop. And when you get it, apparently you're going to send it to her because you're in the States as well. So thanks for that. So Kathleen finally gets a bloody OGR hat, so I'm glad about that. And the shop's open, but we're just saying we've already got a lot of people. Oh, Kathleen, yeah, you got your hat on your way, so you come up then. Jane's doing all the shop stuff, so she doesn't want to get flooded. So we're thinking we might only publicise the shop here on the tracker. So she's going to put another link to the shop in the comments here, and you can see what's going on. And she's selling the stuff too cheap, so she just did a big package of stuff, and we make about $20. But anyway, that's how it works. So that's cool. And what else? That's about it. I think we'll go straight into the tracker because there's some interesting things, and I've already had a sneak peek forward, and there's some serious challenges coming up with the Azores High. So stand by for that. It's going to be very interesting. So if I hit that, we should be into the tracker. Yep, there it is. So now I come on to my copy of the tracker. And here we go. It all looks very organized and very simple, all on the one plot. So there's Explorer down the bottom, Penjuic up here. And to give you an idea now of the split, it's not meant to do that, the split in the fleet. Now that's completely stuffed that up. So we're off to a raging start. There's meant to be one there and one here, about nearly 1,300 miles from the leader to the tail ender. So split quite a lot, and that's going to take a while to get through when they get to cows, but all is fine. So we'll start down the bottom and work our way through. You can see the doldrums are very kind here at the moment. That's a good thing for Explorer, making tracks. We're now doing 7.9 knots. That's pretty cool. 187-mile day. Jeepers. All-time record for this leg 4 for Explorer. So they'll be happy with that. I'm particularly happy if this breeze holds. And in fact, I'll just pick it up so you can see the difference. They lost a day and a half or something dropping off the crew member. And now they're back into it. So that's kind of good. And you can see here, there's no big hole. It's just a constant breeze. So long may that last. Stern is now moving. They had a slow day yesterday. But they've now picked up. 146-mile day, doing 6.2 knots. Still very hot for them, so they'll be glad to head north. It takes a couple of days after you're out of the doldrums before the temperature changes that much. So that's interesting. And Triana looks like they're trying really hard still to get past White Shadow. And White Shadow will be trying really hard not to let Triana through, because technically they should be faster because they're a longer waterline boat. You got 53 compared to 57. But they're still neck and neck. So White Shadow is 7.2 knots and 138-mile day. Triana, 132-mile day. Whoop. So they took 6 miles out of Triana. That'll miff them off a bit. So Triana's doing 7.6 and just trying to break away from that Swan 57. And Evrika, 8 knots. They're happy. 152-mile day. So they were a bit slow yesterday getting into the breeze, and now they've got the breeze, they're sort of into it. And you can see, even though there is colour here, there's still, lighter patches. So it's still not consistent over the whole lot. There's bit of light patch there. Sterna's not in the same sort of breeze as Triana and White Shadow, so they're on a catch-up, and so it goes. But Galiana's now looks like they're in the thick of it, 7.3 knots, and doing a 142-mile day, so happy to be underway. And by the look of that, they're trying to maximise their stay sails and everything, so they've paid off a little bit more than some of the others. See there, they could still be running an asymmetric there and also a mizzen staysail, but that's just my guess. Outlaw, 165-mile day, 7.7, very much into it. You can see they're holding a little bit higher than maybe a little bit higher than Galiana. Maiden, quite happy still. Their conversations are good, plenty of water. Obviously getting cooler, 7.9 knots, 165-mile day. And Neptune over the other side, 183-mile day, and doing 8.2, roaring along, chasing Translated, doing 8.4 at 180-mile day. So Neptune took a little bit out of that. They caught up a little bit to Translated. Then Spirit of Helsinki, 8.9 knots and 193-mile day. So they've got legs. They should be really performing well in these conditions. They're a big, powerful boat, big rig. They're absolutely a windward boat, and you can see their course is reasonably high. You know, they're pretty much going down the run line, and so's Maiden. They're holding high really well, sailing to their rating quite well. But we'll look at that in a minute. 7.7 knots for L'Esprit de Keep, 164-mile day. So they're lagging behind a bit, and we'll no doubt see Spirit of Helsinki start to make gains on L'Esprit de Keep. They're a much lighter boat again than Penjuic and L'Esprit de Keep, so they could be getting kicked around with the waves. Actually, we haven't looked at the waves there. Let's just see what they're suggesting here. No, that's a different look. I wonder if that's working. So with the waves, it's all pretty consistent, and that's coming into 2.5 meters or something. So not extreme, but it'd be really messy. And that's interesting. If you look at that here, you can see here this convergence with two different wave patterns. So that'll be uncomfortable. I've seen that before. Now we can't get out of something going wrong here. We can't get out of this and get back to the wind. That's a bit of a blow. That's why it was looking strange before. I'm not sure what to do there now. We don't want to look at waves all the way. We want the wind. Here we go. There's something funny going on with the system here at the moment. Anyway, we're back to the wind, so we might leave. Oh, no, I'm going to tempt my fate here and look at currents. No, there's nothing suggesting any strange currents there for anyone. Galiana's going to come into a head current there. White Shadow and Triana, they've got a bit of a kick from behind. And Explorer, just something heading out to the west. So there's nothing there suggesting any issue that might be creating that convergence of the wave pattern. So, okay, that's kind of weird. I don't know whether you were seeing that, and it's jumping when it shouldn't be. But we're just about now back on here. There's some funny things going on there. Okay, so Penjuic, after all that, doing 9 knots, 189-mile day. I forgot what the others were now. Spirit of Helsinki did 193. Penjuic did 189, so they took out 5 miles, or near enough. So it's still going to see it takes a long time to catch up in these conditions. So yeah, all looking good. And now let's have a look at what's happening with the big picture. First of all, I'll show you. Oh, that was a double jump. There's something funny going on here. Okay, so just so you know, here's the target. Here's the Azores. And remember, we talk about the Azores High that forms up over here, just like this one. And they all drift across, sort of. The centers usually drift across the top of the Azores, which is why they call it the Azores High. And if we come back, cheapers. It's all over the place. So this is the nearest thing we've got to an Azores High, and that's pretty much what it always does, and it comes across, and it's driving the trade winds here. You can see coming down the northeasterly trades, and it's quite solid up the top. That's over the top of it, right? And we won't worry about that's all settling down up the top. So I'm just going to quickly go through this big picture without showing the effect of the wind down here, just to show you how this center of the high is going to move. And imagine this, they're all coming down the run line here, and they want to get through this lot in the next few days. They're going to come up here. The next 4 or 5 days, they're going to come up through there. So as that goes across, you can see the center of the high holding there, but it's distorting, and sometimes it does this. See this trough here of very light winds, and that's cutting the course at 90 degrees. And if you watch now, you'll see that area of very light winds is going to pretty much sit there while the high decides what it's going to do. And it's coming across, and bingo. So now imagine that's like a block. There's no wind there. You can't drive through the center of it, and it's just going to rotate and sit there. So this is now the 31st. You can see a huge amount of no wind in front of Penduic and the leaders. This is now on the 31st again. Guess what? It's still sitting there. There's just no wind there on the 1st, and it's still distorted. And there's a little bit of breeze out here to the west. Now this is the key. This is the link. If someone can get across here rather than cutting up here, if they zip across into this flow, they've got a sleigh ride all the way up. And this is really super traditional. This is doing exactly what all the guidebooks and the pilot books and the pilot charts show you. And the first one that can get into that and hang on to that is going to make a big break towards the UK. So this is on the 1st of April, 3 days from now. And 3 days, when they're doing 180-mile days, is 3, 4, 5, 500 miles. Okay. Oh, what is it? Some things are not working right here at the moment, but that's fine. So 500 miles, you can see Penduic's going to be up here and get hit with that first, and then you'll see a bit of a compression. So these guys at the back are potentially likely to come up and catch some ground on the leaders. And those out to the west, like Translated and Neptune, are possibly, when they come up, they're possibly going to hook onto this weather gradient and hook in potentially faster. If Penduic keeps holding high and comes over here, they're going to sort of slow right down, and someone could come around behind them and hook up into this lot here. So now if we go back and just continue that argument just to see what's happening here, so you can see how this all works. Okay, so you can see the high is completely gone, more or less. It looks as if it's distorted, and you've got all these areas here which are a problem. And so even if someone comes up here and gets through that, boom, they're going to stop trying to get through it again there to get up to the Azores. So there's a temptation. If they're getting weather forecasts, and they should be by now, very soon, as they get a bit higher, they'll start to get the WeatherFax maps from Northern Europe that covers the whole of the North Atlantic here. I doubt whether they'll pick up that stream, but you never know. If you can get in there and hold that, you look as if you can go around this way. But later on, you'll see it's not good to be over here, because usually the wind is coming down like it'll be headwinds. That's why they always usually target the Azores. But you can see again, you've got another blocking path here that you can't get through. So there's going to be some winners and losers coming up in the next batch. And this is what some of the skippers are currently talking about. They're all worried. They say, oh, jeepers. It's all going to come down now to the Azores high. And I couldn't agree with them more. It's looking very tactically significant, and absolutely it's all about being in the right place at the right time, because you can see there now it's perfect. There's this breeze coming up through the Azores. That's the 3rd. It's only 4 days away, 4 or 5 days away. So it'll all come down to get who gets into this stuff first and then starts rocketing north. All right, that's enough of that. You can see what happens back to here today, and we'll pick it up and we'll just see what's going to happen. We'll follow the leaders first, because this stuff here is going to hold. This is where the thing is going to make a big difference. Okay, so that's today. We go through 24 hours. You can see it's lightening up already up the top. And so there's 24 hours from now, and that's about 180 miles for Penduic if they can keep it going. It's not meant to be doing that. Jeepers. It's doing a double whammy. Sorry about all this. So about 180 miles. Oh, there's 160. So this is about where Penduic is going to be, and the rest of the fleet is mimicking that. So it's not quite onto this. There's 20 degrees south, 20 degrees north latitude there. Not quite up to that yet. So we'll get rid of that. Come back Trying to be very precise here with my clicks. Now it just jumped to. Something going wrong with the program here. And then down one more. Japeth. Okay, let's just look at that then. It's pretty much the same as before. Come on, wait for that. Just click it up one. That might do it. All right, so there's day one. Now we'll go to day two. There's 36 hours, so you can see there. Penduic coming up. They're going to run out of wind. Spirit of Keep, Helsinki, they're coming up. They're going to run out of wind. Translated and Neptune, if they keep going this way, they may just get around the back of this little hole here. Whereas the others, and if they do, then they're going to be into this bridge. So you can see there's going to be some real fun and games going on. That's 36 hours from now. Now we'll go through to 24 hours and just see. There is a gap there. Absolutely, there's a gap there. And it's right here. This is where it is. And if Penduic goes this way, they're going to run out. Translated, Neptune, they may just roll up through there. But that's a free ride home if they get into this, I've got to tell you. So in amongst all that, the guys down here, they've got light. The trade winds aren't strong. They're getting much weaker. But it's still going to be 6-7 knot sailing for the majority of the boats. And for Explorer, it's looking like you might get across without too much hassle there. Just go back to the beginning. Explorer and Sterner, the next 2 days, we'll just push it through. That's not too bad. Coming up to a day that's pretty light, but it's headwinds. So Sterner's okay, and Explorer might just make it through before there's this zone of no wind there. So they could actually start to make ground on that. All right, that's about all I need to show you there. I've got to thank the guys from Recife too. We did actually plan to potentially have a stopover in Recife for this edition of the OGR. We were looking at where we would stop. We didn't know it'd be in Australia or New Zealand. It turns out to be New Zealand. Then we were looking at Punta and Recife, but Punta came out head and shoulder above the rest. But there's a discussion going on right now about, wouldn't it be interesting, because you saw what happened going through the doldrums. It can get really messy. You saw what happened to Triana and so on. And so that creates a huge element of luck, which distorts the performance of the boats. But then again, that's part of the challenge for the Whitbread races and, now the OGR. But wouldn't it be interesting if you had a 7-day pit stop in Recife? So if you arrive on a Monday morning at 2 o'clock in the morning, you come into Recife, stop there for 7 days, and you've got to leave exactly 2 o'clock in the morning 7 days later and take off. So you're holding your positions, but it gets them all over to a similar area and goes through. May take some of that luck out, or we actually do another stopover in Recife. I doubt whether it'll happen, but maybe a pit stop could be interesting. Who knows what? Something to think about for later on. Anyway, the leaderboard. Certainly they're great people in there, great marina, new big 4-star hotel, all that sort of stuff. So interesting place. Penduic and Line Honours, then L'Esprit de Keep, Spirit of Helsinki, Translated 9, Maiden, Neptune, Outlaw, Galliano with Secura, Rika, Triana, White Shadow, Sterner, and Explorer. So that's how they stack up on Line Honours. It's all getting a lot simpler. And then for IRC, now L'Esprit de Keep is still holding in there, but only by 5 hours against Penduic, which is really interesting. It's quite amazing that Penduic and the L'Esprit de Keep are sailing so well to their handicap. They have got a break, obviously, and they're moving pretty well in terms of velocity made good, and they're tackling it out for first and second. It's very interesting. Translated 9 is right behind, only about 5 hours behind Penduic, and I think with that Azores high, I'm pretty confident you'll see at that point that Translated 9 is going to compress their distance. They're going to catch up a bit. I'm pretty sure that's the way it's going to look. And also Neptune are doing pretty well. They could go with them as well. So being out to the west could be an advantage. So you may see some changes with that in the next couple of days. In about between day 2 and day 4, I think you might see a reshuffle there. Neptune, yeah, looking okay. Spirit of Helsinki, still a few days down. Then Maiden, and then Outlaw. And how bad is Triana going? Yep, Galliana's not looking good. They parked as well, which is really sad for Tapio. They've been working very hard, but they parked and lost ground. Evrika is right behind Galliana, and then it's Triana at 55 days and 5 hours. So they're about just under 6 days behind the Esprit de Keep, for instance. So not good, but I think what we'll find, I'm not going to look now on the overall rankings, they can afford to lose 4 days or something. That's overall for all 4 legs combined. And I think it'll be Triana still holding the lead, with Maiden coming in and close behind. So the important thing for Triana is to try and somehow tell Maiden to slow down. I'm sure they will, just to give them a break, but Maiden might be breathing down their neck. We'll look at that over the weekend anyway. All right, so that's enough of this report. So if I come back here and say good day, then we'll be done. We're moving out of the office like crazy at the moment. Marco's here, been working for 4 days packing boxes of stuff. So you don't want to see outside the vision here. It's pretty messy. Anyway, where are we? Here we go. Back to the top. Okay, Rob. Okay, Port Vincent, that's cool. Very important place. Port Vincent, Rob's from South Australia, Royal South Australian Yacht Squadron, and I'm from Adelaide. That used to be my club for 25 years. Cruised the Gulf everywhere there, and Port Vincent is significant for the Whitbread because it was a case of following Chichester and then the Gold Globe and then the Whitbread racing around the world, and that was all about the clipper ships or the windjammers, sailing around from Europe, one stop into Australia, and then pick up wheat and wool and so on, and then race all the way back around Cape Horn. And Port Vincent was one of the busiest ports. There would be windjammers and clipper ships as far as the eye could see, all waiting there to swap cargoes and reload and so on. So very significant. And we actually looked, if we had been going into Adelaide, because we did have some serious discussions about taking the Southern Ocean stopover into Adelaide because of the significance of the clipper ships and so on. We were going to put a rounding mark at Port Vincent, so the boats would have to come up and sail through the anchorage where all the windjammers used to anchor to get all the gear. So yeah, it was very much a part of all that. Great spot. Hey, John, Kathleen, you got your hats on your way. There's a link there to the shop, but don't tell anyone because we don't want to get too busy. And everything working now on YouTube. Yeah, we had 3 tries on YouTube, but it's all working. Thank you. The Esprit de Keep, doing really well. Bit of excitement here in the Sable d'Olonne. It's not a bad day here today, but there's a few people talking, and finally, the Esprit de Keep is doing really well. So they had some bad luck on League 3, but they're over that now. Okay, Mark, Explorer, keep on exploring. Yeah, Explorer's on the move. Just as a matter of interest, Explorer will be doing the 2027 OGR. So if you're looking, it'll have another crew, but we got lots of time for training, so they actually know how to use everything instead of dropping 4 winch handles over the side. Did I tell you about that? Leg 1, they lost 4 winch handles over the side. But anyway, they're having a lot of fun. But Explorer will be going again, and there might be some other news from us later on, but we'll put that up after we get the notice of race up, because we're still working on that, thinking a few ideas and stuff. So, g'day, Mike. Can't believe we're on the final couple of weeks. Enjoy watching. Yeah, we are. Quite incredible. I'm sure, John, I'm sure they will be getting weather faxes very soon. If their faxes are working, they're in the realm now of getting some pretty interesting isobaric weather maps. They could get cloud cover or satellite cloud cover, all that sort of stuff. So who knows? Okay. Should go this. Okay. Done. It's a terrific race. Experience you're behind here, and so interesting. Huge thanks for more. Thanks, Chevy. Okay, so that's it. We're looking forward to the next few days. It's going to be very interesting. The way it pans out on the Azores High. Watch this space. It's going to be winners and losers for sure. and that's why they'll all be struggling to get weather forecasts now and try and work out what's going on. Okay, all good. So we'll see you tomorrow. See you later.